More good than bad. What's up, guys? Andrew here on my channel, Gear Inc., where I get to share what I'm passionate about with you. To my channel, that's PC Tech, Games, and Gear. Today, I'm going to dive into all the cool things in CES that affect us gamers and, basically enthusiasts. But I'm filming from my living room because essentially I'm redoing my entire workspace downstairs. Painting, shelving, desks, all that stuff. Here's kind of a quick sneak peek at it. I think it's going to come out great, and I am going to do kind of a little vlog on that for you guys who want to watch that later on. Let's talk about all the stuff that came out in the news. So first off, 4070 Ti is out in the wild. Specs are exactly what we thought it was going to be. Pricing is exactly what we thought it was going to be. And it's a very hard GPU for a number of reasons. There have been a lot of reviews from tech tubers on this, and I'm going to link them down below so you can watch all those if you hadn't I've already had the chance to. But the major consensus, except for a few holdouts, Jay's 2 cents had some different benchmarks than the majority of viewers out there, is that it falls behind every other GPU in the stack, the XT, the XTX, the 480, etc. What's more problematic for it is its pricing compared to the rest of the stack. So even though it has, double AV1 encoding, and with DLSS 3.0, it should have quite a performance uplift in the games that take advantage of it. In terms of raw numbers, it handily gets beaten by every other GPU out there, and its pricing is so close to the XT and the XTX, it makes it a hard sell for people who aren't, just Team Green, essentially. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad GPU. It's actually a good GPU, despite the fact that it was the stupid 4080 12GB unlaunched version, and NVIDIA has been holding these in warehouses for like 8 months because they're trying to drive up, demand for their current stack for the 4080 and 4090. It's just that at $800, it's $300 over the previous generation, 70 or 3070 Ti, and it's a GPU that, while fits a spot kind of in the hierarchy, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you don't have any bias and you don't want ray tracing, buying an XT or an XTX at that price point makes the most sense. Now, I know that NVIDIA is banking on the fact that all of those GPUs are currently sold out, and so people will pick up the 4070 Ti because they want to have something new, and they don't want to pay for a 4080, and they don't have the money for a 4090, and so I do think the 4070 Ti's will sell. I just don't think it's not the option any of us wanted, right? So that's the first thing that's out there. Now, AMD absolutely stole the show. They have announced officially their Ryzen 3D cache CPUs for the rest of the 7000 stack. This puts people who bought AMD in a weird position, because if you just bought a 7000 series CPU, in less than a month, you're going to be able to get a much better one. These are going to be up to 30% faster than the rest of the stack. I personally am planning on swapping back to AMD when these come out. So yeah, it puts you in a weird position, because it's cool that you can pop them in the current generation AM5 board. It sucks that you just bought a brand new CPU and you're going to be basically replacing it. And the 7000 ones have not sold well. There's not a high demand for them. So getting these, sold on the secondary market is going to be difficult for a lot of people who, typically will sell their hardware and, to help pay for new upgrades, like me. So that's one of those things that a lot of people are going to have to deal with. Now, one of the concerns is that the 3D cache on these CPUs, they didn't clarify if that's going to be per core complex or if it's going to be shared. That can have effects on performance. And even though the 5000 3DX did outperform a lot of CPUs in its weight class, it had a worse multi-core, basically, performance for parallel processing. So hopefully we won't see that penalty with the higher, AMD CPUs. But it looks like they are going to be the king again. It's great to have that competition. Again, I am personally waiting for these to come out, and we'll have to see verified performance metrics before any of us make any final judgment, but I am very excited for these. Now, something that's not great about these CPUs is supposedly there's no manual overclocking. So it looks like they are working hard with Microsoft to do optimizations for boost clock, but they're not allowing manual overclocking on these CPUs that they may be locked. I don't really understand why they do that. So here's the thing. These CPUs run very, very hot. Like the 3D cache and 3D stack NAND, it makes these CPUs thermal generators. I wonder if they're already going to be, to get the performance, just maxing the crap out of these things, that they don't want people messing with it, because any amount of overclocking might literally toast these CPUs, because they're already going to be redlining them. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's great that they're working with Microsoft to get the optimization for these CPUs, but hey, if it's my product, I should be able to do whatever I want with it. I don't like this. I hope it's not going to be true, But if it is, that's kind of a mark against them. Now, the rest of the cool CES stuff is AMD did announce the new laptops, which actually look fairly powerful. Specifically, some of the stuff they were comparing against the M1 from Apple. And then they're working, with NASA, which I think is fantastic. And they're also working in the medical industry to help, basically give AI to things like solving cancer, which having lost someone personally in my family, just a month or two ago, that's actually something that I'm very, very passionate about. Something else, too, is that they did announce their gigantic server, essentially APU. So this is a combination of like a CPU, a GPU in a one solution, similar to the new Apple Silicon. It's exactly how they do it. This is just at a much, much like higher level. And I think it's great because that integration is eventually where things are going to go anyway. And if it trickles down to the consumer market where we get these super powerful APUs where you can have these tiny form factor gaming computers that are ultra powerful, I think that's fantastic. So I'm very excited for all that stuff coming out. But let's talk, kind of summary, good, bad, and ugly. So the good. We have new CPUs coming out that I've been excited for. Can't wait for those. We have a new GPU in the market, and yes, there's got some problems I'll talk about in a second, but it's always good to have more options, especially in such a bad GPU market that we've been in for such a long time. Current generation AMD users will be able to upgrade to these new CPUs, and that is also good. Bad is everything I've talked about. Pricing, availability, non-overclocking for AMD new CPUs, and then a slew of unanswered technical issues, including what the actual price of these new CPUs is going to be. And they do need to be competitive, otherwise it's going to be difficult for AMD to justify since the 7000 series sold so poorly. They need to be like $100 less than what AMD came out with originally, honestly, especially to compete against Intel. So there you have it, guys. A quick recap of CES. I'll have the videos linked down below. If you like this video, leave me a thumbs up. If you thought it was terrible, leave me a thumbs down. Remember to get subscribed and hit that bell icon so you know when these videos drop next. I will be creating a new giveaway sometime next week. Can't wait to share that with you. I haven't quite decided what it is, but it is going to be hardware related. I think that's the way to go. As always, guys, I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching my content, and I'll see every single one of you next time here on Geared Inc.